Admiral Chen stared out the viewport as the alien spacecraft approached. It was massive, at least 5 times larger than Earth's flagship, the Liberty. The metallic hull gleamed against the darkness of space, intricate patterns etched across its surface that reminded Chen of ancient hieroglyphics. "They're hailing us, sir," Lieutenant Foster said from the communication station. Chen straightened his uniform. On screen, the view screen flickered to life, revealing a tall, slender being with iridescent blue skin and large, almond-shaped eyes. The alien wore what appeared to be ceremonial garments, adorned with symbols of rank that Chen's team had studied for weeks in preparation for this meeting. "I am Ambassador Zarthol of the Galactic Confederation," the alien announced, its translator converting the clicks and whistles into English. "We come in peace to formally introduce ourselves to your species. Ambassador, I am Admiral Chen of Earth's United Defense Fleet. We welcome you to our solar system." Zarthol's eyes narrowed as they scanned the bridge. "Is this your command vessel?" "Yes, Ambassador. This is the Liberty, our flagship." A sound emerged from the alien that the translator didn't catch, but it sounded suspiciously like laughter. "And these 5 vessels comprise your entire defensive fleet?" Zarthol asked, not bothering to hide the amusement in its voice. Commander Alan Phillips stepped forward beside Chen. "We are a peaceful species, Ambassador. We prefer to allocate our resources toward exploration and scientific advancement." Zarthol made that sound again, definitely laughter. "How quaint." The meeting continued aboard the Liberty, Earth's representatives. Admiral Chen, Commander Phillips, and 3 other senior officers sat across from Zarthol and its delegation in the conference room. "The Confederation spans over 300 star systems," Zarthol explained, projecting a holographic map of their territory. "We bring order and protection to all species under our banner." "And what does this protection entail?" Phillips asked. "We provide military security, technological advancement, and access to our trade networks. In exchange, member worlds contribute resources and accept governance under Confederation law." Chen leaned forward. "And if a world chooses not to join?" Zarthol's expression hardened. "The galaxy is a dangerous place, Admiral. Unaligned worlds often fall prey to more aggressive civilizations." As the meeting progressed, the aliens made no attempt to hide their disdain for human technology. When offered a tour of the Liberty, they barely concealed their smirks at the ship's propulsion systems and weapons arrays. "You haven't even developed basic gravitic shielding," one alien engineer remarked. "How have you survived this long?" Phillips maintained a diplomatic smile. "We're quick learners." At the end of the tour, Zarthol addressed Chen directly. "Your species shows potential, despite your primitive development. The Confederation offers Earth protection and guidance. We would require mining rights to your asteroid belt and gas giants, plus a governance seat on your World Council." "That's very generous," Chen replied carefully. "But Earth values its independence. Perhaps we could discuss a more equal partnership." Zarthol's expression turned cold. "Equal? Admiral, look at your tiny fleet. 5 vessels that would barely qualify as shuttlecraft in our Navy." "Nevertheless," Chen said firmly, "those are our terms." The aliens departed shortly after. Their massive ship making Earth's fleet looked like toys in comparison. As their vessel disappeared into the darkness of space, Phillips turned to Chen. "They're going to come back, aren't they?" Chen nodded. "And not for friendly talks next time." Phillips stared at the empty space where the alien ship had been. They really believed what they saw, that this is all we have. A small smile formed on Chen's lips. Let them believe it. For now. Deep beneath the lunar surface, hidden from prying alien sensors, 500 warships sat in massive underground hangars, waiting. 6 months passed since the first contact with the Galactic Confederation. Captain Natalie Freeman stood on the bridge of the Liberty, watching the tactical display with narrowed eyes. The Confederation had returned as expected, But this time they brought 20 warships that formed a threatening half-circle around Earth's orbital defense line. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, Lieutenant Greg Wilson reported. They want to speak with our leadership immediately. Freeman nodded. Put them through. Ambassador Tsar Thul appeared on screen, no longer wearing ceremonial robes, but instead dressed in what appeared to be military attire. The alien's blue skin seemed darker, its posture rigid with authority. Captain Freeman, the alien said coldly, your planet has had sufficient time to reconsider our generous offer. The Confederation requires your answer. Freeman kept her expression neutral. Ambassador, we appreciate your return. However, Earth's position remains unchanged. We seek equal partnership, not submission. Tsar Thul's mouth formed what might have been a sneer. Look at your defenses, Captain. 12 small ships against our battle group. The Confederation has lost patience with your arrogance. We prefer to call it self-determination, Freeman replied. You have 72 hours to surrender control of your planetary governance and resource rights. After that time, we will take what we require by force. The transmission cut abruptly. In the United Earth Defense Council chamber beneath Geneva, military and civilian leaders gathered around a large circular table. Holographic displays showed the alien vessel's position near Earth's moon. They've blockaded our lunar shipyards, General Jackson explained, pointing to the tactical display. At least, the ones they know about. Freeman addressed the council. We've analyzed their communications. The Confederation believes we only have 12 defensive vessels, our visible fleet. Council President Rivera leaned forward. How confident are you in our hidden assets, Captain? Very confident, sir. Project ShadowNet has remained undetected. The stealth systems on our subsurface ships are working perfectly. The aliens have no idea what we've built since they left. Lieutenant Howard stepped forward with his intelligence report. We've intercepted their communications. The Confederation has subjugated 17 other species using the same tactics. They find developing worlds, demand submission, and take what they want. Most species surrender without a fight when faced with their battle groups. And those who resist, asked Rivera. They make examples of them, Howard said grimly. Engineer Susan Wright activated her presentation. Our weapon systems are ready. The phased energy cannons can penetrate their shields based on the frequency analysis we gathered during first contact. What about civilian casualties? Freeman asked. Evacuation to the subsurface shelters is at 93%, Security Director Martinez reported. We can have the remaining population secured within 48 hours. President Rivera looked around the table. Recommendations. Freeman stood. We should appear to negotiate while completing our preparations. Let them think we're frightened and considering surrender. Meanwhile, we position our hidden fleet for maximum tactical advantage. They'll never expect the real size of our forces, General Jackson added. The element of surprise will be total. The Council voted unanimously to reject the Confederation's ultimatum. 2 days later, Freeman met with Tsar Thul's representatives on the neutral ground of an orbital station. She projected an image of worry and desperation. We need more time, she pleaded, making her voice shake slightly. Surely the Confederation can extend the deadline while our council debates. The alien commander looked down at her with contempt. Your stalling is transparent, Captain. Your primitive species simply delays the inevitable. Freeman lowered her eyes. Perhaps you're right. As she returned to the Liberty, Freeman contacted the Lunar Command Center through a secure channel. Admiral Russell, they've taken the bait. Operation Revelation is authorized. Deep beneath the lunar surface, Admiral George Russell smiled. Understood, Captain. It's time to show them what humans are really capable of. Lieutenant Kevin Howard adjusted his uniform one last time before boarding the Confederation diplomatic shuttle. As Earth's military liaison, he had convinced the aliens to allow him access to their command ship for surrender negotiations. His actual mission was far different. Remember, we need those shield frequencies confirmed, Captain Freeman had told him during the final briefing, and any tactical information you can gather without detection. The shuttle docked with a massive alien vessel, a ship so large it could house the entire visible Earth fleet within its hangar bays. Howard was escorted by two tall, blue-skinned guards to what they called their hospitality chamber. "Wait here," one guard ordered. "Commander Vexnar will meet with you shortly." Once alone, Howard activated the scanner hidden in his wristwatch. The device appeared to be an ordinary timepiece but contained advanced technology that could map nearby systems and record data without detection. He slowly moved around the room, collecting readings from the ship's power conduits running behind the walls. The door slid open, and Howard quickly lowered his arm. "Lieutenant Howard," said Commander Vexnar, a stocky alien with decorative scars along his jawline. "I understand you bring terms of your planet's surrender." Howard forced a submissive smile. "Yes, Commander. Earth's Council wishes to discuss the transition process." "There is little to discuss. Your world will provide resources according to our quotas and accept our governance structure." Vexnar's tone left no room for negotiation. "You may transmit these requirements to your leaders." "Of course," Howard replied. "But surely a tour of your magnificent vessel would help me explain to our people the benefits of joining the Confederation." Vexnar seemed pleased by the flattery. "Very well. A brief tour for educational purposes." Meanwhile, back on Earth, Engineer Susan Wright was making final adjustments to the defense grid's targeting systems. Deep inside a mountain complex, she worked furiously to calibrate the weapons that would be humanity's best hope against the alien shields. "The frequency modulation is complete," she reported to General Jackson. "Based on our initial scans, these adjustments should give us a 40% shield penetration rate." "Good work," Jackson replied, studying the holographic display of Earth's hidden defenses. "But we need more. Every percentage point matters when we're potentially outnumbered." Wright nodded grimly. "I understand, sir. I might be able to push it to 50% if I reroute power from the secondary systems." Aboard the alien flagship, Howard was carefully observing everything as Vexnar led him through the vessel. His wristwatch silently recorded crucial data about their propulsion systems, weapons arrays, and communications protocols. "This is our auxiliary control center," Vexnar explained with obvious pride. "From here, we coordinate with our entire battle group." Howard noted the command interfaces and communication relays. "Impressive. How do you maintain communications during battle conditions?" "Our quantum relay system operates on cascading frequencies," Vexnar explained, not suspecting Howard's true interest. "Even if enemies jam one channel, we automatically shift to others." "Fascinating," Howard replied, his watch recording every detail. Later, in a private moment in a corridor, Howard managed to access a data terminal while his escort was distracted. He quickly downloaded information about the Confederation's previous conquests, confirming what they had suspected. The aliens routinely subjugated developing worlds through intimidation and force. As his escort returned, Howard caught a glimpse of one file labeled Species Resistance Categories. Earth was classified as Minimal Threat/High Resource Value. Back on the Liberty, Captain Freeman received an update from the lunar base. Admiral Russell reports all ships are in position. Lieutenant Wilson informed her. "They await your command." Freeman nodded. "Tell them to hold." Lieutenant Howard still needs to extract safely with the intelligence. The deadline was approaching quickly. Only 18 hours remained before the Confederation's ultimatum expired. Howard finally returned to the shuttle, his mission complete. As he departed the alien flagship, he transmitted a coded message. "Package secured. Payday approaching." Freeman received the message and allowed herself a small smile. It's almost time to show them what humans are really capable of. The deadline arrived. Confederation warships moved into attack formation, their massive hulls gleaming in the sunlight as they approached Earth's orbital defense line. The 12 visible human ships seemed tiny and fragile in comparison, holding position protectively in front of their homeworld. Final communication from Earth Commander, reported the Confederation communications officer. They request one last meeting. Commander Vexnar laughed. Display it. Captain Freeman appeared on screen, her expression carefully neutral. Commander, Earth formally declines your terms for surrender. Vexnar's eyes widened in surprise. You refuse. With your pathetic fleet. We do, Freeman replied simply. This is madness. You've seen our capabilities. Your species will be subjugated or destroyed. These are your only options. Freeman allowed herself a small smile. Actually, Commander, there's a third option you haven't considered. What nonsense is this? Vexnar demanded. Let me show you. Freeman nodded to someone off-screen. Admiral Russell, you may proceed. For a moment, nothing happened. Vexnar began to laugh again, but the sound died in his throat as his tactical officer suddenly shouted in alarm. Commander, new contacts appearing everywhere. Hundreds of them. All around the solar system, human warships were decloaking. They emerged from hiding positions behind moons, within asteroid fields, and from low planetary orbits. Some simply appeared in what had seemed like empty space, their advanced stealth systems finally deactivated. Impossible, Vexnar gasped, staring at the tactical display as it filled with new contacts. Where did these come from? Freeman's voice was calm. Did you really think we would show you our entire defense force during first contact, Commander? Humans have a long history of keeping our true strength hidden. Admiral George Russell stood on the bridge of the Defiance, Earth's true flagship that had remained hidden beneath the lunar surface until now. The massive vessel dwarfed the Liberty, bristling with weapons systems and surrounded by a fleet of 300 warships. All ships report ready, Admiral, his tactical officer announced. Russell nodded. Open a channel to the Confederation command ship. When connected, Russell addressed the stunned alien commander directly. This is Admiral George Russell of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your scans during first contact detected only what we wanted you to see. This is humanity's true defensive capability. On the Confederation ship, Vexnar was frantically ordering his communications officer to call for reinforcements. Our communications are being jammed on all frequencies, Commander. The officer replied in panic. I can't reach the Confederation. How is this possible? Vexnar demanded. They're primitives. Lieutenant Howard's intelligence had been put to good use. Earth's ships were broadcasting jamming signals precisely targeted at the frequencies the Confederation used for faster-than-light communications. Russell continued, his voice measured. You came to our home and threatened our people. You assumed we were weak because we showed you only what we wanted you to see. That was your mistake. All across the solar system, Earth ships took position, surrounding the Confederation battle group. What had seemed like overwhelming alien force now found itself hopelessly outnumbered and cut off from support. We don't wish for war, Russell explained, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. You have two options: retreat immediately or engage in honest diplomatic relations as equals. On the Liberty, Captain Freeman watched the alien ships closely. They're powering weapons, Lieutenant Wilson reported. Defensive positions, Freeman ordered calmly. Let them make the first move. Back on the Confederation command ship, a junior officer approached Vexnar. Commander, the humans could have attacked without warning. Why did they reveal themselves first? Vexnar stared at the tactical display, showing the overwhelming human force surrounding his ships. For the first time in his long military career, he felt fear. Because, he realized, they wanted us to know how completely we had underestimated them. Commander Vexnar's pride overwhelmed his judgment. Despite being surrounded by hundreds of human vessels, he refused to accept defeat. Fire on their flagship, he ordered, his voice shaking with rage. Show these primitives the true power of Confederation weapons. Brilliant energy beams lanced out from the Confederation warships, targeting the Defiance. Admiral Russell had anticipated this response. Evasive pattern Delta, he commanded calmly. Return fire. targeting protocols as planned. The massive human flagship moved with unexpected agility, the alien weapons mostly striking its reinforced shields. The few hits that connected did minimal damage. Lieutenant Lisa Martinez led the first counterattack squadron, 12 nimble fighters that swooped toward the largest alien vessel. Talon Squadron, attack formation. Target their lateral weapons arrays as planned. "They're so small," exclaimed a Confederation gunner, struggling to lock weapons on the fast-moving human ships. "How can they maneuver like that?" Martinez's squadron danced through enemy fire, approaching from multiple angles. "Execute attack run now," she ordered. "Remember your training." The human fighters fired in perfect coordination, their weapons calibrated to the exact frequencies Howard had stolen. The beams cut through the alien shields like they weren't even there, precisely disabling weapon emplacements without destroying the ship. "Partial shield failure on decks 5 through 9, shouted a Confederation officer. "How did they penetrate our defenses?" Vexenar stared in disbelief as the tactical display showed more human ships engaging his fleet with surprising effectiveness. The Confederation had always relied on overwhelming force and superior technology. They had never encountered a species that could match them tactically. Aboard the Liberty, Captain Freeman directed the larger battle group. "Focus fire on their support ships. Cut them off from each other." The human vessels moved in complex patterns that seemed chaotic at first glance, but revealed themselves as intricately coordinated attacks, while Confederation ships maintained rigid formations according to their standard battle doctrine. The humans adapted constantly, never presenting the same target twice. "They're not fighting according to any known tactical pattern," a Confederation strategist complained. "There's no logic to their movements." But there was logic. Human logic. Admiral Russell had studied historical Earth battles for inspiration, implementing strategies from naval warfare, aerial combat, and even ancient ground battles. The aliens, with their rigid hierarchy and standardized approaches, couldn't adapt quickly enough. 3 Confederation vessels exploded as their power cores overloaded. Several others drifted, disabled by precise strikes to their propulsion systems. The remaining alien ships tried to regroup, but found themselves cut off from each other by swarms of human vessels. On the Defiance, Admiral Russell watched the battle unfold. "They're trying to break through our eastern flank," he observed. "Lieutenant Kim, take the 4th Division and cut them off." "Yes, Admiral," Kim responded, leading 50 ships to intercept the attempted breakout. The battle reached its turning point when Martinez's squadron managed to disable the main power distribution node on the Confederation flagship. The massive vessel's lights flickered, and its weapons fell silent. "Direct hit on their power core," Martinez reported triumphantly. "Their main systems are failing." The humans had taken losses. 27 ships destroyed, and dozens more damaged. But the Confederation fleet was in ruins. Of their 20 warships, 5 had been destroyed, 11 disabled, and the remaining 4, including the flagship, were surrounded with no hope of escape. Admiral Russell opened a communication channel to Vexenar's ship. "Commander, this battle is over. Power down your remaining weapons and prepare to discuss terms." On his badly damaged bridge, surrounded by injured crew members and failing systems, Vexenar finally understood. The humans hadn't just hidden their true numbers, they had hidden their true capabilities. Their technology, tactics, and determination had all been drastically underestimated. "We were fools," he whispered, watching as human ships moved in to secure his vessel. "They let us mock their tiny fleet, while preparing for this moment all along." The Confederation flagship's once pristine command deck was now dim and damaged. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows across the walls as Captain Natalie Freeman stepped through the airlock, accompanied by 4 armed security officers. The air smelled of burned circuitry and defeat. Commander Vexenar waited at the center of the bridge, his proud posture now diminished. Several high-ranking Confederation officers stood behind him, their expressions a mixture of shock, anger, and fear. "Captain Freeman," Vexenar acknowledged with a stiff nod. You have bested us. Freeman surveyed the damaged bridge calmly. This didn't need to happen, Commander. How? The question burst from one of the alien officers. How could your species achieve this level of technology without our detection? Our scouts reported you had barely achieved system travel. Your scouts saw what we wanted them to see. Freeman replied simply. Humanity learned long ago that appearing weaker than you are can be a significant tactical advantage. An aide approached Freeman with a datapad. She reviewed the battle statistics. 14 Confederation ships disabled, 5 destroyed, and 1 surrendered. The human fleet had lost 32 vessels with 57 damage. The cost had been high, but Earth had prevailed. I am authorized to discuss terms, Freeman said, returning her attention to Vexnar. The alien commander's face tightened. The Confederation does not negotiate with. The Confederation, Freeman interrupted firmly, has lost this battle. You will negotiate, or we will be forced to take more drastic measures. Your choice, Commander. For a tense moment, Vexnar seemed ready to refuse. Then, slowly he nodded. What are your terms? He asked quietly. Earth demands recognition as a sovereign power and entry into the Galactic Confederation as equals, not subjects. Our resources remain our own. Our governance remains our own. Vexnar's eyes widened. You wish to join the Confederation. After this, we have always preferred peace to war, Commander. We simply refuse to be subjugated. The negotiations continued for hours in a conference room adjacent to the bridge. As they worked through the details, Vexnar gradually revealed more about the Confederation structure. The High Council will not easily accept these terms, he admitted. No species has ever joined without some form of resource tribute. Then Earth will be the first, Freeman replied firmly. Your council needs to understand that cooperation yields better results than conquest. Meanwhile, throughout the solar system, human medical ships were rescuing Confederation survivors from damaged vessels. Earth's leaders had insisted on showing compassion to the defeated enemy, a concept that clearly puzzled the aliens. Why do you save our wounded? One captured officer asked Lieutenant Howard as they watched a rescue operation. We would not have done the same for you. Howard shrugged. That's the difference between us. We fight when necessary, but we don't abandon sentient beings to die when we can help them. By the next day, news of the battle had spread throughout nearby star systems. Communication intercepts revealed that many species within the Confederation were shocked by the defeat. Some expressed concern, others curiosity, and a few, those who had been subjugated by force, showed cautious hope. In a private communication with Admiral Russell, Freeman expressed concern about the future. They'll come back with a larger force once they regroup. This isn't over. Russell nodded on the screen. I know, but we've changed the equation. They now understand the cost of attacking Earth, and we've gained time to prepare further. The final agreement was simpler than either side had expected. Earth would join the Confederation as a full member with equal rights. A human ambassador would take a seat on the Galactic Council. Most importantly, Earth's territory would remain under human control, free from Confederation oversight. As Vexnar signed the document, he looked at Freeman with new respect. Your species is not what we expected, Captain. Freeman allowed herself a small smile. That seems to be humanity's greatest strength, Commander. We're rarely what anyone expects. 1 year after the battle that changed humanity's place in the galaxy, Admiral George Russell stood at the observation window of Harmony Station, Earth's new diplomatic outpost orbiting Jupiter. He watched as vessels from 17 different species moved through the busy space lanes, a sight that would have been unimaginable just 18 months ago. Admiral, Ambassador Carter has arrived, his aide reported. Russell turned to see Daniel Carter enter the room. The former diplomat had become Earth's first representative to the Galactic Council, a position that had required both incredible tact and unwavering strength. Daniel, Russell greeted him with a firm handshake. How was the council session? Carter sighed as he took a seat. Productive, but tense. The Confederation is still adjusting to our presence. Some members see us as a threat, others as an opportunity. And the reforms? Russell asked. Moving forward, 3 more worlds have been granted equal membership status, following our model. The old guard isn't happy, but they can't stop the momentum. Beyond the window, a sleek Confederation cruiser passed by, escorted by 2 human vessels. The sight still felt surreal to Russell, former enemies now engaged in joint operations. The military exchange program begins next week, Russell noted. We'll be hosting officers from 5 different species to train alongside our own. Carter smiled. The Vexari delegation is particularly eager. Since Commander Vexnar's reports spread through their fleet, they've been fascinated by our tactical approaches. The aftermath of the battle had created ripples throughout the Confederation. Initially, many species had feared humans, the primitives who had somehow defeated an elite battle group. But as Earth opened diplomatic channels and shared its story, perspectives shifted. The Trilaxians have requested our help, Carter continued. Their mining colonies have been raided repeatedly, and the Confederation fleet hasn't responded. Russell nodded. I've already authorized a defensive deployment. Captain Freeman will lead the mission. On the other side of the station, Captain Natalie Freeman was briefing her crew aboard the newly commissioned Unity, Earth's most advanced diplomatic vessel. Designed to showcase both human technology and openness, the ship featured areas specifically built to accommodate various alien physiologies. This mission is critical, Freeman explained to her mixed human-alien crew. The Trilaxians reached out to us specifically by passing traditional Confederation channels. How we respond will set the tone for future relationships. Lieutenant Martinez, now promoted to Freeman's second-in-command, reviewed the tactical data. The raiders appeared to be using stealth technology similar to our own. No wonder the Confederation patrols haven't caught them. Then we'll have to be smarter, Freeman replied with a slight smile. Back at Harmony Station, Russell and Carter continued their discussion while watching a training exercise between human fighters and Araxian scout ships. The smaller alien vessels were learning human evasive maneuvers, darting between asteroids with increasing skill. They learn quickly, Russell observed. As do we, Carter replied. The Confederation's faster-than-light communication technology has revolutionized our colony's development. Cooperation benefits everyone. Not everyone sees it that way, Russell noted. The hegemony still refuses to acknowledge Earth's status. The hegemony, a powerful faction within the Confederation, had been the primary force behind the policy of subjugating developing worlds. Earth's success had undermined their influence, and they weren't taking it well. They'll come around, Carter said confidently, or they'll be left behind as the rest of the galaxy moves forward. A junior officer approached with an update. Admiral, the Joint Fleet exercise is ready to begin. All participating species are in position. Russell nodded. Commence the operation. On screens throughout the station, a magnificent sight unfolded. Ships from 9 different species, including former Earth adversaries, moved in coordinated patterns, practicing defensive formations developed by human strategists. A year ago, they mocked our tiny fleet, Russell said quietly. Now they study our tactics in their military academies. Carter smiled. Perhaps the Confederation needed humanity as much as we needed them. As the exercise continued, a message arrived from Earth's president. The Galactic Council had unanimously approved the creation of a new multi-species rapid response force, with Admiral Russell named as its first commander. It seems, Russell said, reading the message with pride, that appearing weak while being strong wasn't just good strategy for one battle. It's changed the future of the galaxy.